I grew up in an area in Bergen that I would describe as severely hospitable. In my class, there were several children from different parts of Norway who spoke different dialects, including me. There were also Muhammad from Morocco and Ahmed, the Palestinian. Now, as an adult, I know of many sad stories when it comes to refugees' challenges to fit in, but never did the thought strike me that I in any way was superior to the foreigners in my class. Never did I hear anything about them being bullied or excluded. Now, I might have lived in my own little bubble, of course, but I viewed all group members as equal, and I believe that this was the case for most of us. Our teacher had definitely succeeded in creating a safe learning environment, but is it fair to give her all the credit? When I moved back to my hometown to work as a teacher after 21 years in Bergen, I quickly discovered that something was not right. Now, I will not go into specifics. All I can say is that was when I realized that despite the trauma of moving to a new place as an 8-year-old, I had been blessed to grow up where I did. That really made me think, because my peaceful move from Trøndelag to Bergen was somewhat traumatic to me, and I was so lucky with the community I happened to grow up in. How on earth would it have been if the move included a challenging journey from a home country in flames to then end up in an unhospitable community, which sadly is often the case? And I also started to wonder if it meant that the teachers in Bergen were better than here. Are the schools there more capable of creating groups with a higher degree of empathy and inclusion? A quick and arrogant answer to that would be yes, but one must not forget that the school is only a part of that community, and the community is the collective of all the people who live in a certain area with their characteristics and values. Now, this is not something I will try to answer in this talk, but it has made me curious. This is something that needs to be investigated more thoroughly, and it's long overdue. In a time when millions are trying to escape unbearable conditions, some people are building walls. Education systems in countries who have the economic capacity to give shelter and provide a new home to those in need, they must prepare and train the upgrowing generations in how to create hospitable communities. In an English study on refugees, 19 of 33 of the interview subjects reported that they had experienced bullying, and 6 had changed schools or were planning to do so. Now, what role can the schools have in creating hospitable communities? And what can the teachers do? Toll-free claims that after family, attending school in the host country has the greatest capacity for supporting refugee children. It also said that schools can provide psychosocial care on an informal basis, educating the children in the group of the experiences and possibly altering the view and strengthening the connection through facilitating empathy in the group. But the teacher is no magician. The government has to see what the needs of the society is and provide the needed resources to make this happen. In England, there's been no specific funding arrangement targeted towards integration of asylum seekers and refugees in schools. It has rather been a part of the inclusion and racial equality support. Many teachers aspire to become teachers because they love to share knowledge and had a talent of teaching. I propose that the ability to be an empathetic leader with a specific knowledge on how to bind people together and teach them how to create a hospitable community, to care for the group's needs as well as their own, is the most important skill for a teacher. When the corona crisis came upon us, the government delivered clear guidelines to be implemented in all municipalities in Norway. This makes me wonder, why are there no such clear guidelines to secure proper integration and guidelines to make communities, municipalities hospitable? A big portion of that job has to be done by the refugee services in the municipality, but this is where the school comes in and can make a tremendous difference, if only it could be taken as seriously as the coronavirus. It is important that the teachers and the classmates of refugees play a welcoming role, because the relations they make in school are crucial when it comes to being accepted in school and in the local community. The only problem is that even though knowledge on how to provide skills on creating a safe and welcoming environment exists, it is not always being prioritized. The focus on getting good results on national tests or the general curriculum achievement goals can often lead to teachers demoting learning activities that include play and interaction. In a study about refugees' inclusion in England, it was reported that young adults displayed superficial sympathy towards them, experienced no identification, and viewed them as part of another world. Every person has their own unique story, and every person who has fled their country will have a different tale to tell. In the absence of real-life speakers, the teacher must reach for literature. In a way, one could say that the story as a utility has the capacity to bind us together. It can expand empathy by letting the reader identify through the author's emotions and thoughts, discovering resemblance even though the context may be far from the reader's, both in time and place. The teacher can provide this, and must. Empathy is not a natural capacity, and the skill of understanding other people's feelings needs to be fostered, because understanding the mental state of others is a crucial skill for developing social relationships. Like Nikolaeva said, reading literary fiction enhances affective and cognitive function. Reading fiction takes you into another person's thoughts and feelings, because you engage your imagination while you're reading. So, what can the teacher do to create unity between people from different backgrounds? The teacher must work on expanding the student's ability to empathize with the other's stories, so that if the students cannot feel connected through identification, then at least they can feel connected through their hearts, learning that all in all we are all people who share the same feelings. Feelings are in a way what is between matter, between words, feelings that transcend time and space, that make us into us, humans. Humans can play on each other's heartstrings by leaving a piece of their experience and emotions through art. Art being visual, music, or literature. Art for the senses. A portrait of the mediator's interaction with his surroundings, his encounters, reflections, and knowledge of the world. Art, and literature in particular, is a shortcut to tapping onto the truths of another person's take on life. A piece of art itself can be a way to connect people, or it can be a mean to learn something new about an aspect of life or humankind. Books are sometimes windows offering views of worlds that may be real or imagined, familiar or strange. These windows are also sliding glass doors, and readers have only to walk through in imagination to become part of whatever world has been created or recreated by the author. When lighting conditions are just right, however, a window can also become a mirror. Literature transforms human experience and reflects it back to us, and in that reflection, we can see our own lives and experiences as part of the larger human experience. Reading then becomes a means of self-affirmation, and readers often seek their mirrors in books. So back to my question, what can the teacher do? Take one step back from trying to fill the expectations of politicians' decisions on how to do our job, and rather prioritize activities that facilitate a good learning environment by taking more time to engage in activities that foster empathy and understanding. If we do this, then we will be one step closer to making a hospitable community. And through this, hopefully, the students will recognize what feels right and end up choosing people before position in their future.